Say from the 155 full-time farm broadcasters who are the members of the National Association of Farm Broadcasting and who for almost 70 years have brought you farm and market information on radio stations, networks, and television affiliates. Several of those farm broadcasters are among the media here that are covering this record-setting commodity classic, and they are among the broadcast members in the print media and the web media that are letting the world know what is going on here. I also bring you greetings from Brownfield Ag News and our more than 300 affiliated radio stations in 8 states. It's the traditional role of the NAFB president to address the Commodity Classic annual meeting, and I am particularly honored to be part of it here at the Opryland Hotel. And I was here a month ago to address the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, and when I checked out, I was approached by the hotel manager. His words were, "How did you find your room?" I find it nearly unnecessary to give my reply. I told him that actually I had not. But really now, really, isn't this a fancy place? And luxurious. The nice, comfortable beds. The thick towels. I could hardly get my suitcase closed. In farm news, the 4 major farm groups represented here at Commodity Classic do not agree on every aspect of what federal farm policy should be. However, there are points of solid agreement. Yesterday's joint statement from the American Soybean Association, the National Corn Growers Association, the National Association of Wheat Growers, and the National Sorghum Producers says that the Farm Bill should not be an extension of the current farm policy, and it should be completed this year. According to their statement, that's your statement, what it should contain is an effective safety net built on crop insurance. The U.S. Energy Information Administration says ethanol production hit a record at just about 13.95 billion, with a B, billion gallons during 2011. That beats the previous record by about 700 million gallons. But now, corn futures have slipped overnight. There's very little news pointing to a higher trade today, except that fundamentals are bullish in corn. It's about the same story for soybeans with bullish fundamentals, but a market that appears to be overbought on soybeans, and wheat is mixed. A higher dollar today could put pressure on that market. Beef packers are short bought, but probably not in any mood to pay what feedlots are asking. That is about $130 on the hoof, and it's because of higher futures prices yesterday. Hog buyers may be dragging their feet today because of struggling carcass values, but they need hogs. So look for that market to be about steady. Yesterday, March corn closed 2 3/4 lower at 653 3/4. March soybeans were higher by 3 1/4 to close at 1316 3/4. And March wheat in Chicago was off by a nickel at 659 1/4. April live cattle were up yesterday at $1.20 to close at 130.95. April lean hogs closed 77 cents higher at 90.20. I'm collecting photos of the appearances to commodity groups that I have done, and I'm wondering if you would mind if I would briefly take a formal portrait. I want you to sit for that. If you would kind of gather into. All right. Oh, that's nice. Here, I'm going to put just to prove that I was here. Smile, smile. Oh, how about that? It looks nice. But being here among so many of you reminds me of my upbringing on the farm in southeastern South Dakota. I was getting my first farm responsibility, and I remember it well. The reason being is because we had a hog operation that would be the envy of the Humane Society of the United States. We farrowed in farrowing pens, 4 by 8 feet. They could get up, they could move around. But here's what happened. My dad said to me, he said, I'm going to do the rest of the chores, and this sow is about to farrow. And would you please see to it that nothing happens to the little pigs, because these sows get kind of touchy and strange at farrowing time. So you watch this sow, and I'll be back. And 25 minutes later, he came back. He opened the hog house door and came in, and the first thing that he saw was a pig being born, and I was sitting there watching this pig. The pig was born, and no sooner was it born than the sow got up and turned around, and with one gulp, that pig was gone. And my dad said, I leave you alone and give you a simple responsibility, and what happens but this? And I said, Dad, the joke's on you. That's the 10th time that little critter's been through there. And this just in, after high-profile complaints concerning long hours and harsh working conditions, a factory manager in Asia says that reforms are in the works. Promises have been made to cut workers to half days. To quote the factory manager, what they do with the other 12 hours is up to them. Well, what you do every day is not easy, but I am so grateful that you do it. And I think that you should be proud of what you do. Thank you very much for having me, and on behalf of the National Association of Farm Broadcasting, have a nice day and a pleasant rest of Commodity Classic. Thank you. God bless you.